Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, bandits kill 7 worshippers, wound others in Kaduna mosque attack. Voter apathy, irregularities, violence characterizes Edo Council polls. President Tinubu recalls all career and non-career Nigerian ambassadors. Gabon reopens borders 3 days after military coup. Hello there, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Kaduna as suspected bandits have attacked worshippers in a mosque at Sayasaya village in the Ikaro local government area of Kaduna State, killing 7 persons. Now, 5 of the victims were gunned down in the mosque, while the remaining 2 were killed at different locations within the area. Now, the incident happened when the villagers were performing prayers at a mosque, according to local sources. A resident of the village, Naasabe, says 2 other villagers who sustained gunshot injuries are currently in hospital receiving treatment. The village head, Abdurrahman Yusuf, confirmed the incident, saying the head of the vigilante in the village was among the casualties in the mosque attack. He said security agencies comprising soldiers and police from Ikara town and Palgore area arrived at the scene after the bandits had already left the village. Acting Public Relations Officer of the State Police Command, Mansur Al-Hassan, who confirmed the incident, said security personnel have been mobilized to nearby bushes to fish out the perpetrators. Now, our reporter in Kaduna, Bello Musa, is joining us now to give us an update on the attack in Sayasara village. Bello, thank you very much for making the time, and it's good to hear from you this evening. What more have we learned from this development? Is there any latest update on that attack?
Yeah, the 5 victims that were killed by the bandits were buried around 9 a.m. Saturday morning. And also government officials led by the administrator, Kaduna Capital City, and at the same time overseer of the Ministry for Internal Security, Samuel Arwan, were at the community to assess the situation and also to condole with the people of the area. And also the state government oversaw at an event in Kubo local government area, which is a local government neighboring Ikaro local government, said his administration will fish out the perpetrators of this heinous act.
Yeah. Is this an unusual attack in Ikara local government in Sayasaya village, to be precise? Because we do know that Kaduna State has for quite some time now been inundated with security challenges. Is this something unusual for this particular area?
Yes, it is unusual in the local government, also in Sayasaya community, because Ikara local government has been enjoying relative peace. There was no much activities of bandits and other criminal elements. So with this ugly development, the people of Sayasaya community are in mourning and confusion over this sad event that occurred on Friday evening.
The village head quite categorically said that help didn't come in time. The police did not arrive until hours later after the attackers had left. What have you learned from the position of members of the public about confidence in the security architecture to protect their lives and property?
Well, though earlier the state police public relations officer said the villagers did not inform the security agencies on time. That's why there was a late response to the incident. But the people of the area are thinking that the security should have come to their rescue while the attackers are in the village carrying out their activities.
Right, Bello Musa, thank you very much for the update. We hope to hear from you soon as there is a lot more to learn. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Right, moving on to some of the day's other news. Residents in Kuchiko Resettlement Development Area in Buari area of Abuja are raising alarm over rising cases of kidnapping in the area. Now, this followed an incident in the early hours of Saturday in the area, popularly known as Erufai Estate. The victim, Chinedu, was whisked away by the kidnappers from his house within the estate. Now, the victim's wife told Daily Trust that the kidnappers took her husband after breaking through the fence to gain entrance into the compound. Now, chairman of Kuchiko Resettlement Development Area, May Baba Bego, who confirmed the latest incident, says a total of 5 persons have been kidnapped from the area over a period of 5 months. Now, he called for the deployment of security personnel to the area to avert further incidents. Elsewhere, the Katsina State Police Command has arrested at least 15 suspects for kidnapping, fraud and other crimes in the state. The suspects were paraded at the command's headquarters in Katsina on Friday by the police spokesperson, ASP Abubakar Sadiq. Among them were 4 suspected members of a notorious kidnap for ransom syndicate who were arrested on different dates and times in April this year. Also in the lineup paraded were 10 suspected fraudsters that specialize in defrauding unsuspecting members of the public using counterfeit currencies. The suspects were arrested with credible information about their activities in a house situated at Bakin Kaswa quarters in Kankia local government area of the state. The command also paraded a 30-year-old suspected notorious member of a kidnap for ransom syndicate terrorizing Faskari local government area of Katsina State and its environs. Items recovered from the suspect include 3 rounds of 7.62mm live ammunition, a bottle containing liquid suspected to be mercury, and 144 pieces of suspected counterfeit 1,000 naira notes, with the suspects admitting to have committed the crimes. Elsewhere, a pan-northern group, Arewa Gyarakayanka movement, has called on youths of northern Nigeria to change their mindset towards developing the region. The group is being coordinated by a famous political singer popularly known as Rarara. Now, the group is targeting social media influencers in order to foster unity and promote agriculture, healthcare, delivery, education, trades and investment, as well as unity of purpose among the northern population. Abdullahi Amadi has more on the story.
The organizers also want residents of the insecurity-prone communities to have a rethink and come up with immediate measures to end insecurity by providing adequate intelligence report to security operatives. The group said this can be achieved through proper engagement of social media influencers from the local governments affected by insecurity. We invited people from across the 34 local government areas of Katsina State to participate in this program. But as you can see, due to insecurity, only few are in attendance. There's no power of security operatives that can change our situation. It is us, as residents, that can bring our insecurity to an end, and we're determined to do it. He highlighted the need for northerners to reclaim their space in the scheme of things, especially by focusing attention on issues that will rejuvenate various sectors of the economy. Other speakers dwelt extensively on the relevance of social media in fine-tuning and shaping the northern society towards development. The region, which is endowed with both human and natural resources, is lagging behind due to some factors that, if residents work hard, can change the narrative.
The youth and the general people of the North to come back to their senses, to realize the importance of joining hands with the government in ensuring that the insecurity that has been developing in the North is actually combated. This, we understand, could be easily done using our teaming youth that are very, very good and very kind of focused in terms of utilization of the powers of the social media. We don't have any country than Nigeria. This is our country. We have to sit down and see our problem and solve it within ourselves. Our president of the 1313 Musician Forum is the one who insists that we should go to the poor people, to the masses, local government by local government, step by step, for the security awareness, for everyone to know where you will stand.
before you take yourself. That's as a friend protecting you must have to involve yourself.
Many Katsina residents are saying the move, if sustained, will go a long way in boosting the economic status and checking the incessant security challenges confronting Katsina State in particular and northern Nigeria in general. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust.
Now in Bauchi State, the family of murdered 18-month-old Muhammad Abedin are calling on the government to deliver justice while performing burial rites for the slain toddler. Now the decomposing body of the toddler was exhumed at a school where his mother is a student. Adamu Imam tells us more.
The school is situated close to Games Village, a few meters away from the community where this young Abedin got missing and later found dead inside a sockaway after 8 days. Al-Qasim Said, the father of the toddler Muhammad Abedin, while lamenting the death of his son by miscreants, says only God can salvage them from eternal damnation. When I received the news, I was shocked because I never thought my son will not be back alive. When he got missing for a whole week, I was called and went there only to discover his mutilated dead body. Some of the residents in the area said all hands must be on deck to checkmate insecurity in the area, while the government should vet private schools operating in the state. Honestly, the government is doing well in some areas, but there are things that need special attention, particularly those promises they made to the people. This school is supposed to be fenced all round because no school can match their population in this area. After closing, you wouldn't know if they are coming from school or not. You only see those coming through the main road. I think effort should be put into arresting the situation. Now we are inside the school premises, but not even local security is here to safeguard the school despite the number of people coming as students. It seems we are not ready at all to remedy our plight, because if societal problems are everybody's business, then we should do more to save our children.
This insecurity and this inhumanity, I think there is need for government to be able to provide security around the school premises. If you look at what's happening in that place, there's no any security or watchman or gateman there. It's only the premises, these blocks of classrooms, and there's no fencing, nothing at all. So this has given the man on the wall to come to such places.
Upon receiving the news, the state governor, Bala Mohammed, and commissioner of police visited the immediate family at Gidan Bari within the metropolis. During the visit, the governor ordered the Ministry of Education to close down the school till investigations are completed and directed security agencies to fish out the perpetrators of such inhumanity. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Heading to Edo State now, where the local government elections in the state have been characterized by low voter turnout, violence, and electoral irregularities in some local government areas of the state. Now, in some of the areas visited, voters say voting materials were delivered late in the day. Jonathan Awanyan reports that several polling units commenced voting at around 1 p.m., while others saw a handful of voters take part in the exercise. His report.
The elections for chairmanship and councillorship positions in the 18 local government areas of Edo State on Saturday were marred by late arrival of materials. That story was virtually similar in other polling units visited in the Ego, Oredo, Iboba, Oka, and Orion 1 local government areas of the state. Accreditation of voters was yet to commence at many polling units visited by 12:30 p.m. despite the distribution of sensitive and non-sensitive materials for the elections on Friday to allow for early commencement of the process. Some voters who spoke with Trust TV decried the late arrival of materials as well as officials.
This rubbish, so annoying, so infuriating, so aggravating, mass inhumanity to man. It is saddening, it is disheartening,
disappointing, to say the least, that almost 11 o'clock, voting materials are not here for a process that ESIEC, Edo State Independent Electoral Commission, claimed to be exceedingly prepared for. Almost 11, the materials are not here. It is appalling, to say the least. And we are also disappointed. We are dismayed. And as you can see, the people are showing discontentment, disenchantment. It's already written in their faces.
Look at the masses, they are angry. The voters, they are angry. They came here indeed to vote in their preferred candidate, all to none avail. So the government is not meeting to expectation. So we, the people of Edo State, we are indeed very angry. Yes. We are not happy about the situation. It is uncalled for. We can't take this anymore. If they are not conducting election, they should tell us that they are not conducting election, and we will let it be. If they are conducting, they should give us the modalities, and the election should be conducted. But on this ground, if we wait them till 11 o'clock and there is no arrival, we will tell the old people to evacuate these premises, and the election will not be conducted in Ikpobaha, and it was 7.
In Nwo, the local government area, voters allege that there was no voting in most of the polling units.
This is 1042. We have not seen one material in any of the ward. We have 74 ward unit, 10 wards in Ikpobaha, 74 units in my ward here, specifically was 7. We have not been able to see one single materials. So we don't know what is happening. It's not supposed to be so. It's the election for the masses. Everybody wants to be seeing what is happening. And to me, as I speak with you now, I felt that thing has been hijacked. And if it has been hijacked, for me, it should be a shame to the government, because they told us that we should get ready for election, and we are ready for election. So if we are ready for election, we are prepared. Why would they keep us in dark? It's not good for me. If you know you have followers, you have fans, come to the field, vote and go home. If you win, we give you your winning. If you lose, we give you your losing. If we win, we take our win. If we lose, we take our losing. No need of you keeping us in dark, and everybody is here. We are all tired. So for me, I want the government to do the needful.
No accreditation, no vote. Unit 10, nothing was done. Even the school we are supposed to use was not cleared. No ballot box, nothing. And we just saw cameras coming in that they have done their vote. Only God knows where they did the vote. Inside one man's parlor, they just did thumbprint and carried it away. This is totally unacceptable by us. We can't take it, because this is what is killing this nation. If the vote here must stand, then everybody must vote in their mind. They should get us the ballot box, let us vote. We must fight for our rights, we must stand for our rights. We are not fools. Being in the village doesn't make us a fool. It doesn't make us an illiterate. We want to cast our vote now.
Since morning now, the community, men and women, we have been in this primary school, our polling unit. No ballot paper, nothing. So we are surprised now to see some pressmen. They told us that election is over, that we have voted. So the people, the entire community is very angry, because we have the right to cast our vote. Yes. We did not see any material, we did not see anybody. So we are surprised that they are telling us that we have both voted, whereby something like that did not happen. So as a citizen of this country, at least we have the right to vote, to cast our vote to any candidate of our choice.
However, according to the ESIEC, scheduled voting ought to commence 8 a.m. and end 3 p.m.
Well, let's stay with the local council elections in Edo. Joining us now via Zoom on the News Hour is Mr. Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. And thank you very much for joining us on the program, Mr. Ojo. Appreciate you for your patience and for taking the time to join us tonight. Another missed opportunity, many would say, to give Nigerians credible, free and fair elections. But it is a council election, and many have grown used to the fact that they are just a formality anyway, because there is very little credibility associated with council elections in the history of Nigeria, at least in the current democratic dispensation. What are your thoughts about what has happened already in Edo?
Thank you very much, my brother and the management of Trust TV, for bringing us insights into the September 2023 local government elections in Edo State. But I wish that report or your reporter had also contacted the ESIEC spokesperson to know what was responsible for that delay and voter apathy generally, because we don't know whether it's an isolated instances or whether it's what's widespread. The governor claimed that it rained in the morning. Could the rains have affected the early commencement of polls? So there is a lot more, but at least from what you have read out and what I've also read, the election was largely peaceful. So there were no ugly incidents of violence, and even though quite a number of people, at least for those places where we went, could not vote. And it's a tragedy, and like you said, a missed opportunity that time and again at every election, we have these same complaints of logistic challenge, elections not starting on time, election that is meant to start from 8 o'clock and end by 3 p.m. People at 11 a.m., at 1 p.m. are saying that they haven't seen any election materials. I feel that Nigeria is lagging behind because in many other African countries, we have elections even commencing as early as 6, 7 in the morning and ending at 6 p.m. in the night. I have been privileged to observe election in Egypt. Election in Egypt takes place from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Election in Kenya is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if we are talking of the election at the grassroots, and election that is meant to be from 8 and end at 3, people could not see the election officials then. I think the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission owes this country and the people of Edo State reason. Right. What are the rationale for delayed commencement? Right. Is it that there was no proper funding? Is it that there was no security? I also read that the beavers and the electronic transmission that was earlier promised, as well as restrictions, that was promised that there would be restriction of movement. All of this did not happen.
Right. Okay.
It needs to be desired why all of these changes, last-minute changes, did happen.
Okay. Pardon the interruption. For many, right, local council elections, it does not incentivize the need for many Nigerians to go to the polls because of situations like this, because they have this feeling that there is already a predetermined outcome and their choices at the end of the day would be disregarded. So instead of an election, what you're going to get is a selection. I think the Labour Party also reiterated that concern just 24 hours before the election, alleging that they don't trust that the process is going to be free, neither is it going to be fair to all parties involved. What are your thoughts about people who believe that, as far as council polls are concerned, the person that pays the piper, which is in this case the State Independent Electoral Commission, gets to classically dictate the tune, because more often than not, the ruling party always wins almost all the local council elections and the ward elections?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that that is the norm. And right from 2008, when the Justice Mohammed Lawal Uwais Presidential Election Electoral Reform Committee submitted this report in December 2008, they have actually said that State Independent Electoral Commissions should be scrapped and its activities taken over by the Independent National Electoral Commission. However, I don't think that is the solution, because we cannot be talking of federalism and we are working towards centralization or unitary government. I think the problem that State Independent Electoral Commissions face is lack of financial autonomy as well as executive interference. And we have seen, even with INEC, we just had 2023 general elections. INEC also did not discharge itself very creditably in terms of early commencement of votes, in terms of ensuring that there is no voter apathy, in terms of ensuring that there is timely and the uploading of results. So we are 24 years into this Fourth Republic. We are still facing the teething problems that ordinarily we should have overcome by now. So quite a number, not a few election experts have said, look, we actually don't need to have 37 electoral management bodies, 36 state independent, and the Independent National Electoral Commission.
Right.
But like I said, and given what was experienced under the 2023 general elections, the nagging issue of logistics challenge, the nagging issue of voter apathy, the nagging issue of electoral violence and vote buying are still with us. So it's just to continue to work on these challenges and see how we can improve with future elections. And we should even commend the Edo State. There are quite a number of states in this country that don't even conduct local government elections. One of them is Anambra and Borno State. Borno State, for obvious reasons of insecurity, may not be in a position to be conducting frequent. But what about Anambra? What about some other states that obviously are having sole administrators or caretaker committees?
I think it's fair to say
the affairs of the local government.
I think it's fair to say the electoral challenges in Nigeria is one too many, and the council polls is just one particular talking point that we can further deliberate on. But if you can segue to other developments still staying in Edo, for instance, where the political atmosphere, as you can imagine, is charged. It is building up for the next gubernatorial election, and we've seen quite dramatic scenes from Edo State, especially the relationship between Governor Obaseki and his deputy, Paul Shaibu. And the recent development is that the deputy governor has been kicked, Philip Shaibu, I beg your pardon, has been kicked out of the government house. His media unit was just dismantled days ago following that public display of disagreement between the security of the governor during an event here in Abuja. Give me your take on what is happening here, what is playing out, because the governor was quite vocal about his disappointment and displeasure with what his deputy has been up to politically lately. What are your thoughts about how things are shaping up in Edo State ahead of the gubernatorial election next year?
Next year. Okay, so one thought, the relationship between Philip Shaibu, comrade, and Godwin Obaseki, the governor, is made in heaven, and that they were up to a jolly good ride for 8 years. But quite unfortunately, it has gone the way of many sort relationship between the governors and their deputies. And this is not peculiar. Even in that Edo State, we've had previous governors also having face-off with their deputies. One of them was former Governor Adams Oshiomhole and his former deputy. I mean, with the case of Philip Shaibu, I think this whole Abruaha hubris was as a result of his ambition to succeed his principal. And the principal felt there should be power rotation. Philip Shaibu is from Edo North, just like Adams Oshiomhole, who was the immediate past governor before the coming of Godwin Obaseki. Godwin Obaseki is from Edo South, and there are 3 senatorial districts. And I think Governor Obaseki is looking in the direction of Edo Central. That's the Esan group, Esan tribe, to produce the next governor. So obviously, he wasn't supporting his deputy to succeed him. And Philip Shaibu insisted that it's within his constitutional right to aspire to succeed his principal. And maybe he went about it the wrong way. Maybe he didn't actually took the governor into confidence before he started making the moves. But what we have seen in the recent past is the breakdown of the relationship, which was initially very chummy. Recall that in their first tenure, they were APC governor and deputy governor before their defection arising from the...
Right. I'm afraid we're going to have to anchor the conversation here for now. It's still early days. The political developments in Edo is just shaping up. There is a lot of drama already, but of course, it's still early days as far as the gubernatorial election is concerned. Mr. Jide Odo, thank you very much for your thoughts and for your analysis on this talking point. I appreciate you very much for sparing the time on the News Hour.
Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe and stay blessed. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much as always. Right, moving on to some of the day's other news now. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has blamed its losses against corruption cases on frivolous court judgments. Now, the anti-graft agency also decried its inability to secure convictions in corruption cases, including high-profile cases. The EFCC spokesperson, Wilson Owujareng, disclosed this in an interview with journalists in Kaduna. Owujareng highlighted some of the challenges impeding the speedy prosecution of corruption cases and securing convictions. According to him, the losses were due to frivolous court judgments based on technicalities rather than the facts and national interest, as well as arbitrary adjournment of corruption cases, among many other factors. He added that the commission secured 7,700 convictions across the country in 2022. Now, the General Officer commanding the 3rd Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abubakar, has highlighted the alarming influence of criminal syndicates in perpetuating the crisis on the plateau. The GOC, who disclosed this during a stakeholders meeting held at the headquarters of the 3rd Division in Jos with traditional rulers and community leaders from 13 districts in Bariki Ladi, Riom, and Jos South local government areas of the state, called for collective action to consolidate peace in the state by underscoring the need for collaboration between all stakeholders to flush out criminal elements living among the people. He says activities of criminal groups such as arms trafficking, armed robbery, cattle rustling, and cattle poisoning, drug smuggling, as well as willful farm destruction and organized crime continue to exploit tensions and exacerbate the crisis in the state. The commander expressed concern over the far-reaching implications of these criminal networks, including the loss of lives, destruction of property, and displacement of innocent citizens as a result of reprisal attacks emanating from the activities of criminal elements. He noted that the criminals cut across ethno-religious groups, which he described as organized syndicates. The GOC further revealed that the significance of collaboration to addressing these issues to ensure lasting peace and development in Plateau State. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead after the break. Is bail free? The answer and many more coming up ahead after the break.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in
coming.
itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its higher horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back to the News Hour, and thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a reminder of our top stories at this hour. Bandits kill 7 worshippers, wound others in Kaduna mosque attack. Voter apathy, irregularities, violence characterize Edo Council polls. Moving to some of the day's other news, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has recalled all Nigeria's career and non-career ambassadors. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuggar, disclosed this on Saturday in response to inquiries about President Tinubu recalling the Nigerian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Sharafa Ishola. Now, a statement by Tuggar's media aide, Al-Qasim Abdul Qadir, however, says that the minister did not disclose the reason behind the recall. Now, the current ambassadors, including Ishola, were appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari. But President Tinubu recalled the ambassador to the United Kingdom following the expiration of his tenure. Previously, Ishola was the Minister for Mines and Steel Development under the late President Musa Yar'Adua. Now, a retired diplomat to the ECOWAS Commission and Deputy Country Chair of the United Nations Economic and Social Council, Ambassador Haruna Warkani, is joining us live on the News Hour to unpack the implications of the decision by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to recall Nigeria's ambassadors from our foreign missions. Ambassador, thank you very much for coming on the program. Appreciate you very much for sparing the time. Let me get your initial thoughts on what you make of the President's decision to recall all ambassadors and non-career ambassadors back home.
Thank you, viewers. Well, it's interesting, starting from the recall of one ambassador and extended to now all, career and non-career. This is surely an issue that shouldn't have been, because looking back at what generally obtains around the world, you could see that this is a rather peculiar step taken by Nigeria. The diplomatic corps and practices is such that it's a process, and therefore to recall all ambassadors at a one fell swoop means something must have been wrong somewhere, either at the level of the presidency or the foreign ministry or elsewhere, because foreign relations between nations is a very complex thing, and it requires a lot of reflection. The implications of such a move also means that there is going to be some kind of disruption of the services that are usually enjoyed by Nigerians and non-Nigerians around the world. And mind you, appointing an ambassador is a process, including the letters of credence that needs to be verified by the host country and the rest of them. So usually the relations between nations are not seen as a one kind thing fit all.
So are you essentially, Ambassador, saying that this move is counterproductive because of its unusual nature? And I don't think that there's been precedence for something such as this.
Yes, it is. It is surely counterproductive in the sense that the relations between Nigeria and individual countries across the world is complex and not the same across the board. And therefore, such a decision ordinarily shouldn't have been taken, because what it means is there are certain services at our embassies and high commissions that are suspended with such an announcement, because even the consular heads or chargé d'affaires in some places cannot do certain things that are assigned to an ambassador. An ambassador's position is unique, and there are some things that are quite unique for the functions of the ambassador. A consular head cannot, for instance, fly Nigeria's flag on the car or something of that nature. There are some ceremonies that cannot be covered by any other person than the ambassador himself or herself. So in that regard, Nigeria has kind of done something that is unusual, very unusual, and perhaps counterproductive.
And how important is the diplomatic corps, especially in light of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and his communication to the international community? How crucial is the diplomatic corps, and what could he be missing out until he makes a replacement for all these ambassadors?
Well, our economic diplomacy will be affected severally in this regard, because nations will begin to read something in our body language as a nation, because diplomacy has some prerequisites, and this is one of them: stability and predictability. When you remove such, then you lose out the essence of the diplomacy itself. So that's why I said in the beginning, the foreign ministry perhaps must have missed out something in this regard, because it means foreign nations will begin to look at Nigeria as unpredictable, unstable, and it tells a lot about what we can do and what we cannot do.
So it sends a wrong message. Is that essentially the point?
It has already sent a wrong message if this news item were to be confirmed to be very correct.
Okay, let's clear something. Ambassadors, non-career ambassadors, what is the difference and why is it important?
Well, career and non-career are just two classes of ambassadors. One is fully trained and retained by the foreign ministry for a career, just like any other service of the nation. The non-career ambassadors are those who, for political reasons or exigencies, are appointed to serve as ambassadors in various countries. And surely, most times, government try as much as possible to ensure that grade A countries receive career ambassadors for purposes of integrity and so many other reasons. So in this case, to lump all of them together and say they have been recalled. Recalling is a process that requires a lot of other things underground that nations don't normally talk about it.
Okay.
And then even if we are recalling, it shouldn't have been a public event.
Just in a few seconds before we let you go, give me an idea of whether this could also mean turning a new page as far as our foreign policy is concerned, and perhaps with all the body language of the administration, that is what the international community could read from this development.
Well, of course it is. A lot of imputations can be done through our national body language with this action. But surely, even if we have need to clean sweep this, for the fact that this is a party-to-party transition period, it shouldn't necessarily have been so, because we would expect such moves to only come when and if there were to be a change in government of a violent nature or a war situation.
Like a military coup, for instance.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That would have been, could have been read to have meaning.
Okay.
But within the party, I think there is a problem that needs to be corrected, and it's not too late.
Right. I'm afraid, Ambassador, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour. We do appreciate your insight on this development. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, viewers.
Right. Now, moving on to some of the day's other news. The Nigerian Navy says it has handed over 4 men suspected of oil theft operations to the Lagos State Police Command. The commander of the NNS Beecroft, Lagos, Commodore Kolawole Oguntuga, disclosed this while briefing journalists in Lagos. Here's the report.
Commodore Oguntuga, while addressing the press on Friday at the Lagos State Command, said the Nigerian Navy, stationed at FOB Lekki, foiled an attempted oil theft operation on the waterways near Itolu Community, Lekki, on Wednesday, 29 August, when local youths reported gunshots in the community. Oguntuga stated that upon receiving a distress call from the Itolu community, its patrol teams immediately launched a response operation, which led to the arrest of 4 men dressed in black polo with Tan Tita written on it.
These men were trying to forcefully collect an outboard engine, 300 horsepower outboard engine, from a local. In fact, they were screaming, thief, 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 when the men got there. They were able to apprehend them and retrieve the engine. It was after this arrest, the men now realized that these 4 individuals are a part of a group escorting a wooden boat with 2 fiber boats.
He assured law-abiding citizens, particularly those in coastal communities, that security agencies will not relent in their effort towards making sure the environment is conducive for them to go about their legitimate businesses.
Sophisticated bulletproof platforms that were handed over to the police. The chief of the naval staff came to commission this boat. It's because of the synergy, and these boats have been coming to our dockyard for maintenance. And there we share information, we share intelligence. So we are working together. And the leadership will continue to sustain this synergy and will take it to greater heights for other states to learn. Thank you.
The Lagos Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, while receiving the suspects and exhibits, assured of working with the Navy to clear the waterways of crimes and criminality.
And that is a clear statement to the criminals that as far as Lagos State internal security space is concerned, they have in us a very strong united force to respond and commonly deal with any group, network, individuals that might wish to test our common will. The will remains strong. The synergy remains strong.
He thanked Oguntuga for the confidence and the operational breakthrough that has been recorded under his command and assured that the two agencies will work together to keep Lagosians safe.
Now, in a reaction to this development, a private security outfit, Tentita Security Services Nigeria Limited, has kicked against the arrest of its operatives by the Nigerian Navy. Tentita is a security outfit contracted by the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited to protect pipelines from vandalization. The security outfit, in a statement issued on Saturday, describes the action of the Nigerian Navy as a comedy of errors. According to the company, the news credited to the commander, NNS Beecroft of the Nigerian Navy, Commodore Kolawole Olumide, saying the Nigerian Navy arrested 4 Tentita operatives for alleged crude oil theft was unfortunate. Now, bail is a legal right guaranteed under Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. According to the Nigerian law, a person will be released from custody either on the undertaking of a surety or on their own recognizance. Now, Ibrahim Ismail speaks to a legal practitioner on bail conditions vis-a-vis what is applicable in the system. His report.
Nigeria's 1999 constitution provides that an accused person is entitled to be released on bail if the alleged offense is bailable as stipulated by law. The bail can be granted on self-recognition or bond to produce a surety.
Condition or a situation of a temporary or a conditional release of somebody who has been accused of committing a crime pending the determination of the charge against him. Any citizen that is charged with a criminal offense is presumed to be innocent until he is proven guilty. So the period from investigation to the conclusion of your trial, wherein the court may pronounce you guilty or not guilty, within that period, that is the period that you talk about bail.
The legal practitioner who highlighted some criteria for a surety said there are violations of provision of the law in the bail system which needs to be addressed.
If the investigating agency feels that that person is qualified, the person can stand as surety. The surety will be required to sign a bond. That bond is just an amount of money that will be forfeited by the surety in case the suspect jumps bail or runs away. It's not as if you are paying that bond as a condition for the release on bail of the suspect. So what it means is that by the time investigation is concluded and the person is found to be innocent or the person is subsequently charged to court, that bond that the surety entered will be released to the surety.
According to the Nigerian Correctional Service, there are 80,883 inmates in 253 custodian centers across the country, but 55,257 are awaiting trial, representing 68% of the total inmates detained.
Because by the time you don't adhere to what the law says, well, in respect of bail, you yourself, you don't have any difference with the person you are investigating, because the person you are investigating has broken a law. And if you don't grant him bail in accordance to the law, you yourself, you have broken the law, so you don't even have any difference with him.
There are a lot of corruption allegations in the Nigerian legal system, which legal experts say are responsible for the delay in the dispensation of justice. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Right, time now to bring you up to speed with the latest in business. Here's Chiamaka Nwafor.
Brent crude futures rose above 8% per barrel on Friday, the highest since January. They were set to gain about 4.8% this week, underpinned by tightening supplies and expectations that OPEC Plus leaders would extend output cuts through the rest of the year. Now, markets expect Saudi Arabia to extend a voluntary oil production cut of 1 million barrels per day into October, and for Russia to implement export cuts through next month as well. In the United States, the latest data showed that crude inventories plummeted by 10.6 million barrels last week, for exceeding forecasts for a 3.3 million barrel draw. Meanwhile, the Reuters survey indicated that production from Iran rose to 3.1 million barrels per day in August, the highest since 2018. A total turnover of 2.866 billion shares, worth 37.050 billion naira in 33,968 deals was traded this week by investors on the floor of the exchange. Now, the financial services industry, measured by volume, led the activity chart. The conglomerates industry followed in second place, while in third place was the consumer goods industry. Trading in the top three equities, namely Transnational Corporation PLC, Sterling Financial Holdings Company PLC, and Fidelity Bank PLC, measured by volume, accounted for 1.065 billion shares, worth 6.525 billion naira in 6,801 deals. The NGX All Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 3.00% to close the week at 67,527.19 basis points and 36.958 trillion naira, respectively. 55 equities appreciated in price during the week, with 28 depreciating, while 72 equities remained unchanged. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafor.
Now on the international scene, Gabon has reopened its borders on Saturday. An army spokesperson says 3 days after closing them during a military coup in which President Ali Bongo was ousted. Military officers led by General Brice Oligui Nguema seized power on Wednesday, placing Bongo under house arrest and installing Nguema as head of the state, ending the Bongo family's 56-year hold on power. The coup, the 8th in West Africa and Central Africa in 3 years, has raised concerns about a contagion of military takeovers across the region that has erased democratic progress made in the last 2 decades. Coup leaders have come under international pressure to restore the civilian government, but say last night that they would not rush to hold elections. The land, sea and air borders were open because the military junta was, quote, concerned with preserving respect for the rule of law, good relations with neighbors and all states of the world. To keep its international commitments, the army spokesperson said on national television. Bongo was elected in 2009, taking over from his late father, Omar Bongo, who came to power back in 1967. Opponents say the family did little to share Gabon's oil and mining wealth. In other news, detained Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko, an aspiring presidential candidate and head of Macky Sall's fiercest critic, on Saturday ended a hunger strike he began on July 30th. Sonko had faced a string of legal woes since 2021, he claims, are aimed at keeping him out of politics. Sonko was arrested in late July and charged with crimes including fomenting insurrection, criminal association in connection with a terrorist enterprise, and undermining state security over incidents dating back to 2021. In a separate affair, he was on June 1st sentenced in absentia to 2 years imprisonment for morally corrupting a young woman, a conviction that makes him ineligible to stand in next year's election. After beginning the hunger strike, he was hospitalized on August 6th and then admitted to an intensive care unit, according to his lawyers and his party. The decision comes after several Muslim leaders urged Sonko to end his protests In Muslim-majority Senegal, religious leaders have often helped to mediate political impasses. Sonko's lawyers and party had warned that his health had seriously deteriorated and that his life was in grave danger. To sports now, and Nigeria's badminton star Opeyori has expressed disappointment with his shocked exit from the ongoing badminton classics in Lagos. After a decent outing in the quarterfinal, Opeyori suffered a surprise defeat to UAE's Somi Rodani in a straight set 24-22, 21-13 set. Opeyori's quarterfinal feat has also boosted his chances of qualifying for the Olympics as well, regardless of the defeat, and hopes to surpass his debut outing at the Paris 2024 Olympics. Still talking sports, Ese Broom put behind her setback in the women's long jump final at the 2023 World Athletics Championship in Budapest as she won bronze at the Jiaming Diamond League in China. Ese jumped 6.71 meters to finish third at the Jiaming Diamond League. World champion Ivana Villeta from Serbia claimed gold with 6.88 meters, while Marta Koala from Burkina Faso finished second for the silver with 6.79 meters. Now, the Athletics Championship in Doha in Qatar will give the Nigerian athlete an opportunity to win more going into the future. Well, that's our offering on the News Hour tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, follow us across our social media platforms for more content and visit trusttv.com for more news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time and good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.